very good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. To kick things off, meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Well, hello, Mr. Mike. We had some incredible heat the last few days.
We have some heat and some storms again. Those storms that rolled through New Jersey yesterday look like the fingers of God, these tendrils hanging down from shelf clouds. I'll show you some of those photos coming up from down the shore in Wildwood. It was pretty impressive. Well, today we start off with a little bit of a cooler feel. Not as hot, still pretty humid though, and you can even see the clouds are in place for what will be a pretty stormy afternoon. We'll likely have some more wet weather and rounds of it coming in, as some of those storms already starting to enter the picture here across sections of eastern Pennsylvania. Well, all of this is due to another round of wet weather, which is marching eastward, very similar to what occurred last night. And this time it probably won't be as severe, but we tap into some more wet weather later on today. So the futurecast shows more rain coming through, especially across central and southern parts of New Jersey later today and this morning. And then once we get into tonight, this low develops offshore, allowing for more rain to take over into tonight, more storm activity into tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow starts off rather dry. We get lovely rounds of sun early on, stays dry most of the day, and then later tomorrow night into Thursday morning, yet again, more storms coming through. It seems to be the story of the summer. One round of storms after the next before we clear things out into Friday and lead to a pretty decent weekend ahead, which is nice. The Gulf is rather quiet right now, but there might be some trouble in the tropics as the Saharan dust layer starting to lighten up a bit. Remember, this is that hurricane kryptonite. It really doesn't allow for storms to form, but because it's starting to turn a little bit lighter, we might see some more tropical activity develop over the next few days. So we'll talk more about that in just a bit, and we'll get another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Very good. We appreciate that. It is a temp. Let's see here. 73 degrees northern New Jersey. We have 71 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles, 69 degrees, 68 in San Diego. And in terms of, let's see, where did we go here in terms of traffic? We have an issue now on 295. Northbound, there's a crash at exit 75, which is Bear Tavern Road, Ewing Township, right lane of 4 lanes closed. And then over, let's see, we have just congestion really to report on 1 and 9. We have delays northbound from north of Bergen Boulevard to south of Route 9W Fort Lee. All lanes are open, but things are just a little heavy there. Delays on 280 right now, eastbound from east of exit 12, the Garden State Parkway to exit 14W, Clifton Avenue in Newark. All lanes are open, but again, just really volume at this point to worry about, and that's what. Let's see as I get you Los Angeles traffic. And that is really what we're worrying about. Let's go to the Hudson River crossing, shall we? Take a look at the approach to the Holland Tunnel right now. This is the 139 from the Turnpike. Of course, the camera's out. 139 from the Turnpike, making your way into the tubes right now. That's showing us that we got about a 35-minute delay making your way in. Let's go over to 495 approach to the Lincoln Tunnel. And this is the back camera, but you could see things are already slow making your way in. And we're told that's 25 minutes in. GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach, not so bad. It is building but moving. And you could see the on the right side, absolutely nothing on the camera. But just beyond the camera is where things begin. That's about a 15-minute delay getting in. Right side is upper level, left side is lower level. Over to Los Angeles we go. We have a traffic collision reported now, Baldwin Park at Vincent Avenue off-ramp on the I-10. We have another collision in central LA at the 101 and Benton Way, and a collision just reported Baldwin Park at the 10 and North Azusa Avenue. 4 minutes past the hour, and a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Western Colombia yesterday, killing at least 73 people. The quake collapsed buildings across several cities, trapping residents and injuring many others. Authorities reported deaths in Risaralda, Valle del Cauca, Choco, and Caldas regions. Rescuers searched through rubble while residents evacuated buildings amid concerns about aftershocks. The earthquake was Colombia's strongest recorded in the past decade, that according to officials there. Wildfires continued burning across the western part of the United States and Canada, forcing evacuations and damaging hundreds of structures. In Washington, 3 Spokane area fires have damaged or destroyed 920 structures. Firefighters continue to mop up operations. On Sunday, as officials said, the fires were no longer growing. Residents near Spokane remain cautious, with some communities still under evacuation warnings. Nearby in Utah, 2 helicopter pilots died while fighting a wildfire in the Fish Lake National Forest there. Authorities are investigating the crash as crews continue battling fires all across the region. President Trump will announce, or has announced, that Will Scharf, I should say, will become the next White House counsel. Scharf will replace David Warrington, who plans to leave for the private sector. The new counsel previously served as a federal prosecutor and Trump attorney. Scharf also helped secure approval for Trump's proposed White House ballroom. A dangerous bacterium found in warm coastal waters has killed at least 7 people this year. 2 Florida residents and 5 Louisiana residents have died from Vibrio vulnificus infections. The bacteria can enter through an open wound, even just a scratch, or contaminated raw shellfish. It could also get in through the eyes, by the way. If you rub your eyes, there's any water that's infected. People with certain health conditions face greater risks from serious infection. So same people who during COVID, if you were more susceptible, if you had a lower immune system, et cetera, you have a better chance of getting infected. Experts warn that warming waters could allow the bacteria to spread further north. Officials recommend avoiding any contaminated water and cleaning exposed wounds immediately to prevent infections. How about this? The U.S. Postal Service has reported a $2.5 billion quarterly loss this year. And you might say, that's a lot. It's actually better than it has been, believe it or not. So they're actually cheering a $2.5 billion loss. Postmaster General David Steiner warned that Congress has to have some major changes, or that the Postal Service needs to have major changes. They want Congress to know that. Potential changes include closing thousands of unprofitable post offices and raising prices. So the convenience of having a post office in every town may soon be a thing of the past. You may have to go to a regional post office. The USPS faces mounting financial problems as traditional mail volumes continue declining. People just send each other texts and emails. 6-day delivery costs billions annually, while many delivery routes reportedly lose money. So I don't know if you've caught that. 6-day delivery. So what we used to call first class, which used to take 2 days, for a couple of towns, it's now called 6-day delivery. And it makes sense. If you've mailed anything, and I'm of an age that I still mail things, I mail things to my parents. They live about 80 miles away from me. It has taken 2 weeks every time I mail something first class, unless you spend $20 and mail it priority. And that is supposed to be 2 to 3 days. And inevitably it takes like 5 days. It's awful. So here's a little hint to the post office. Get your crap working. Get back to delivering on a 2-day basis, 3-day basis. And then if you want to raise prices or change things or close buildings, people aren't going to be pissed off at you. You go ahead and cut back while your service is this bad. Good luck. Yeah, I think maybe it might be time to revisit the idea of just privatizing the whole thing and say bye-bye to everybody working for the system, because it's really, really bad. Anyway, just saying. A man was arrested after allegedly burglarizing Kim Kardashian's Hidden Hills property on Sunday. Sheriff's deputies responded after security reported seeing a suspect found leaving the property. Authorities found a man inside the residence. They arrested him without incident. The suspect was booked into LA County Jail for alleged burglary. Officials have not released his identity or details about possible stolen property. Property belongs to Kardashian, but it is not her primary residence. Interest in collecting vintage computers. Yeah, old computers, the old relics that people used to use as doorstops, is starting to grow as artificial intelligence dominates modern technology. Collectors restore machines from companies including Atari, Commodore, and IBM. For those of you under 40, you've probably never heard of those companies, but my age, yeah, that's all we had back in the day. Many enthusiasts view these computers as important artifacts from digital history. More than 3,500 people attended this year's Vintage Computer Festival in California. Rare machines like Apple's first computer can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Collectors worldwide are preserving old technology through festivals, workshops, repairs, and trading events. Ben Jones, known for playing Cooter on the Dukes of Hazzard. Cooter. He died Sunday at 84. His wife said that Jones suffered a heart attack at his Virginia home. Jones played Cooter Davenport throughout all 7 seasons of the popular television series. Who doesn't remember Dukes of Hazzard? Oh man, why are we showing Ben Jones? Oh, that Ben Jones. We got the wrong. Did you see that? Why did we show the other Ben Jones? It was him. He was elected. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Cooter was governor. I didn't know. Well, there you go. All right. Now you learn, right, Ken? Jones played Cooter Davenport throughout all 7 seasons. He later, there it is. Here's the story. If I would just read ahead, I didn't read the story ahead. I used to always criticize other anchors for not pre-reading. I didn't pre-read this. He later entered politics and served 2 terms representing Georgia in Congress. Jones remained closely connected to the show through businesses and memorabilia featuring Cooter. Fans remembered him for his acting career, political service, and enduring Southern television character. Cooter Jones again. Cooter Jones. Cooter, Ben Jones. Cooter was 84. May he rest in peace. He brought a lot of people joy over the years and was quite the character on the show. Just a good old boy. Shall I sing? Come on, Pam, you can sing with me. Never meaning no harm. It is 11 minutes past the hour. When we come back, nearly 6 in 10 New Jersey adults support regulating how AI chatbots interact with people seeking mental health advice. As we're just talking about AI and computers. Very important. We're going to talk about that. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has a forecast for us, both East and West Coast. In the New Jersey area, we're talking about some clouds this morning, partly cloudy later, maybe a passing shower or thunder shower, highs in the mid 80s. And in LA, we're talking about sunshine. We're going to have temps in the low 80s, much drier than New Jersey. And in San Diego, for our viewers there, we're talking pretty much the same, just take a degree or 2 off for the sea breeze effect. We're taking your calls too at 888 658 0234, 888 658 0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato live on the East Coast and the West, and our good friends down in Florida on FLA.com. We'll see you this morning too. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Tuesday live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome our friends in Los Angeles and in Florida at 15 minutes past the hour. We will take your calls. The number's 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast in your city.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, very good morning to you, sir. Hope you had a good few days off. Now get to work. Oh, sorry.
Back to, yeah. Well, today's a busy day,
Because
Ken, because, okay, your turn.
no, I'm waiting for you. This
No,
is your stage.
we had some beautiful weather, right? Over the last few days, stunning warm weather, clear sky. It was pretty fantastic. Then, as we head into today, we're back to some rain. So it's not exactly a pool day considering the storms that are knocking on our door. There's already the clouds in place. And look at more wet weather that comes in throughout the course of this morning. Right up through now, you see some of these storms working their way through after so much rainfall late yesterday, some storms that blew in. It's all along this cold front, which is sweeping through, giving us again the potential for some more activity with some stormy weather later on today. Then it clears out a little bit going into later on tomorrow, giving us back to the dry weather. And then Thursday and Friday clears out very nicely for the start of a pretty fantastic looking weekend. And when you look at the calendar, there aren't many weekends left in summer. I heard somebody say the kids go back to school in 3 weeks. That's how soon it is. So starting off the rest of this week with, again, wet weather today, but we dry things out into tomorrow and especially on Thursday. Very pleasant weather for Friday and Saturday. Look at that clearing just in time for a gorgeous weekend. Very nice weather ahead. And then we stay dry into Sunday, maybe Monday. Another chance of wet weather return. So until that time, I think we're doing okay. A zoomed in view shows some of these isolated storms that could hit northern New Jersey later on tonight. And then we tap into a little bit more wet weather overnight. But tomorrow looks rather dry, very pleasant. Thursday, same deal. A few clouds in the morning, and then later on in the afternoon looks a little wetter. And then by Friday, you see another round of passing showers and storms early on in the day, but it looks quiet going into Friday evening. And then Saturday and Sunday, that high pressure builds in from the north, and we have gorgeous weather starting off our weekend with nothing but sunshine. It's that dry northerly breeze that also drops humidity later this week. So that stifling level of humidity that prompted the heat advisories all week last week, no more. We're nice and comfortable as a kind of a cooler finish to the month of August takes over with much less heat and much less humidity. So that's some really good news. Starting off the rest of our week into the next few days again, just a little stormy today with some wet weather. And then we dry things out going into next weekend, looking very pleasant for the next few days.
Very good, Mike. Thank you, sir. It is 72 degrees northern New Jersey right now. We have 71 degrees in Trenton, over to Los Angeles, 69 degrees, 69 also in San Diego. Traffic-wise, 295. We have a crash reported northbound north of exit 75. That's Route 579. In Ewing Township, right lane is closed as well as the right shoulder. Your approaches to the Hudson River right now, we have our camera back on the 139 approach from the turnpike to the tubes, and you can see things kind of heavy there. Is the extreme left side barely moving. The further left you go, the more you can see it's really built up, and that's going to cost you about 35 minutes in right now. Lincoln Tunnel approach 495 to the Helix, that is about 25 minutes in, moving a little better than the Holland Tunnel. You can see that. That's wide open. That's from about 2 miles behind the Helix, that wide camera shot there. That approaches Columbia Avenue. And then as you make your way to the approach for the GWB upper and lower levels, 8095 approach, actually not moving badly at all. Let's take a look at what we have over there. You can see this particular camera shot is about a mile and a half before the bridge itself, and that is wide open. So we're told 15 minutes by the GWB. If you want to go to Manhattan, that's probably your best bet right there, wide open. Over to Los Angeles, we have a couple of collisions to tell you about. On the 5 at Olive Avenue off-ramp in Altadena, we have a crash. There's another crash in Altadena on the 5 at Alameda Avenue off-ramp. And then there's a collision on Vincent Avenue off-ramp at the 10 in Baldwin Park, and another one on the 10 at the Los Angeles Street off-ramp in central LA. A lot of collisions there. Might be a little weather situation. We'll check that out a little bit later this morning. Let's see. Let me just double check something with the computer here. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Nearly 6 in 10 New Jersey adults support regulating how AI chatbots interact with people seeking mental health advice. That, according to a new Rutgers study. Researchers also found that support for regulation is even higher among people who've already used AI for mental health guidance. Joining us today is Dr. Elizabeth Stone, who is the assistant professor at the Rutgers Institute for Health, to explain what the findings tell us about how New Jerseyans are using AI. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's nice to have you on. The study is kind of interesting because the more people used AI, the more they want regulation. So that says a lot about personal experience and how they are viewing AI. So talk about the study revealing the nuances, basically, of mental health care and AI.
Yeah, for sure. That was surprising to us as well. So we found overall 60% of adults in New Jersey support some sort of regulation for, as you said, how AI chatbots, so things like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, are responding to people who seek advice or information around mental health. And again, we were surprised that support was greater. About 70% of people who report using AI chatbots for mental health advice supported regulation, compared to about 58% of people who did not or who had not used AI before.
Yeah, that's the significant thing. It's not that these are, you would think people who've never encountered AI would be more curious and be a little more hesitant, but it's the people who used it who said, you need the regulation. What are some of the things we discovered? Was AI giving bad advice, bad recommendation? What was happening?
Yes, I think there's a couple of things. We did not look into this in our survey, but based on other studies, other information that we know, I think there's a couple of things that people might be concerned about. One, as you're saying, is the accuracy of information. Is the AI chatbot giving the right information? Is it giving the right information for the situation that someone's in? So that's definitely one concern. And then another concern is data privacy, especially as more of these health-specific chatbots come online. People might be uploading personal health information. They might be uploading medical records. And this information that you provide to an AI chatbot is not covered by HIPAA. And so there might be concerns around what happens with that information when you give it to these AI companies.
Yeah, I have a very dear friend who's a professor of psychology. He's actually retired now, but we had this conversation just recently, and he said that the difference between mental health treatment and medical treatment is a little more black and white. It's then mental health has a lot of nuances, and you have to take a lot of different factors in history, and so when you let AI do that, AI is more about cut and dry. If then, that may not really be the case, the way you want to go, as opposed to like if you have pain and you're bleeding, that's a cut. Okay, that's AI could figure that out. But the nuances of finding out what your past is, et cetera, that's something you really need to let a professional deal with, right?
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, AI is not a replacement for mental health care at all. That's for sure, and that is part of the issue here. Is we've heard about lawsuits and situations where people who are in mental health crisis, particularly, have turned to AI and have come to real harm. And so the concern is, is the AI able to flag whenever there's a concerning issue going on? Are there protocols in place, for example, connecting someone to 988, which is the national crisis line? Can it detect when there might be these really moments of concern for people?
Mhm. Yeah. So when there's that indicator where somebody may harm themselves, right, or maybe going down that path, does the AI can it alert 988 as you mentioned, or give the number? Does it know that that's the red flag? You're looking for certain red flags. Does it know to look for those red flags? Is there a certain time though that AI might work, like as a life coach or as just somebody to be a soundboard for how was your day? In those circumstances, might AI be something that could work?
Yeah, I think that's going to vary from person to person. There are national surveys that find that people are really turning to AI primarily for quick advice about something, looking up symptoms, comparing treatment options. Those might be things where AI might be helpful. There are also situations for maybe people who are concerned about themselves or someone they know. So ChatGPT, for example, has instituted a what they're calling a trusted contact. And so that's someone that you could say, hey, I want this person to be notified if my chats, tick off one of these red flags. And so I think there are things that people can do if they are going to use AI that could help protect them.
But ultimately, that's why we're talking about getting regulation, right? So that we have something in place that's more consistent. New Jersey currently has no specific regulations around the issue. Of course, AI kind of sprang up very quickly, and it's sort of like the Wild West. It feels like a few years ago, came out of nowhere, and then now it's like 0 to 100 in a few years. So what do you think the protection should be? Should there be panels impaneled to analyze how AI works, and should there be a set of bullet point guidelines? Well, what do you think should be the case?
Yeah, this is a landscape that's changing every day, as you say, and there are a lot of different options, and a lot of states have taken action already. And so kind of two paths that New Jersey might take. Some states are regulating AI kind of specifically in the context of mental health care. So for example, Illinois passed a law that says that AI can help in mental health clinics with billing, with scheduling appointments, but not with therapeutic communication. And other states have taken a broader approach. So, for example, Washington earlier this year passed a law that regulates these general AI chatbots, so things like ChatGPT, and requires them to have a publicly available protocol for identifying and responding to this input that might have a red flag for self-harm. And so I really think the broader approach is really what most people are going to be affected by. And it's, again, really important to have regulations in place and not just rely on the AI companies themselves to do this self-monitoring.
Yeah, and I think that we should also be concerned about who is behind the particular AI company and what motive they may have. I mean, my fear is, what if it's a nefarious government who's trying to direct our? I know it's big, deep, conspiratorial, but what if it's a nefarious government whose money is behind AI trying to direct our people in a certain way? You never know, and this is why I think all of this has to be out on the table and discussed more. And I'm so glad that there are people like you calling for it. Dr. Elizabeth Stone, assistant professor at the Rutgers Institute for Health. So important a topic, and we appreciate you coming on this morning.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. It is 27 minutes past the hour, and the phone lines are open. We're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. It is going to be flu season before you know it's coming up in the fall, and there's a whole new flu shot out there, but it is an mRNA-based shot. Now, they have the traditional ones, too, if you still want the old school one. But do you want the mRNA flu shot? Remember the other mRNA shot we had in the last few years, the COVID shot? It's up to you. We're going to talk to a medical doctor, a guy who's all about this, who knows what is safe, what is good, and what is not when we come back. Don't go away. Very good morning. It is 30 minutes past the hour, Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West now. And we welcome our friends in Florida on our new channel on FLA.com. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, another day, another forecast. Good morning.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful day yesterday. So much warm weather, a very fine afternoon. And then the finish with the thunderstorms that rolled through New Jersey, big ones at that, especially down across the southern half of the state. Now we wake up to more clouds and more storms on the way. But today, the storms happen a little bit earlier in the day. So we'll likely see that take over throughout this morning. We'll talk about the West Coast weather in a little bit because more heat is happening out there. But down toward Florida, where areas along the Gulf Coast have been picking up a lot of rain over the last few days, and that rain continues across even central parts of the state. Down along the Gold Coast, you're looking fine with dry weather forecast even through this weekend, so it looks pleasant out there. But the heat continues out west with this very stubborn high pressure that's allowing for record heat to persist over the desert southwest of the Four Corners. Down toward the Orange County and LA area, you'll notice a little bit of that marine layer each morning, even through Thursday into Friday, but that will give way to another quiet weekend with nice dry conditions there and lots of sunshine each afternoon. So even for you, the weather is a little bit cloudy right now, but eventually turns drier over the next few days. So a couple of stubborn clouds this morning, not seeing any rain with it, but that will transition to drier weather into the weekend. Our forecast gets better here in New Jersey over the next several days as well, because we kick the humidity out of here throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the weekend looks stunning with a beautiful amount of humidity and comfortable weather to go along with it. We'll give you more details on that, Ken, coming up with your New Jersey forecast in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Appreciate that. 33 minutes past the hour. We have a temperature 73 degrees northern New Jersey, 71 degrees in Trenton, Los Angeles, 68 now, 69 in San Diego. Traffic wise, let's go over to Route 4. We have a crash investigation on Route 4 impacting traffic in both directions by Fairlawn Parkway and Fairlawn. All lanes are closed. You can see they're trying to get people over on the left shoulder right now, but the actual travel lanes are now closed because of that crash investigation. You could see. You're right. Excuse me. I'm corrected. We have a separate incident on Route 4. This is a disabled tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur southbound north of interchange 15X. Secaucus train station in Secaucus, one right lane blocked. But the other incident I told you about is still the case as well. Route 4 investigation going on Fairlawn Parkway. Fairlawn, all lanes are closed. We don't have a camera there right now. That camera is out. We go over to the Hudson River approaches, the approach to the Holland Tunnel, Route 139, making your way into the tubes is bumper to bumper. We're told about 40 minutes in right now on 139. Over to the Lincoln Tunnel approach, 495. We have the wide camera shot here, but this is going to be about 25 minutes in the Lincoln Tunnel. And the GWB upper and lower levels 8095 approach is pretty light, actually, and moving very well. Only about 15 minutes in. Upper level is on the right. Lower level is on the left. To Los Angeles we go. We have a report of a fire now, and this is South LA on the 105 at the interchange with 110. And that's impacting traffic, even though it's only 4:34 in the morning there. We're already getting some buildups of traffic. We have an accident in Altadena, and this is on the 5 at Alameda Avenue on-ramp. And then we have a report of a missing elderly person, silver alert, in LA proper. And that person would be in the area of Broadway. If you see an elderly person wandering there, just call police. Don't approach the person, please. Finally, we have a traffic collision on the 105 at Crenshaw Boulevard off-ramp, and a road closure on the 60 at the 605. That's in Santa Fe Springs. 35 minutes past the hour, a new chapter in flu prevention may be here. The FDA has approved Moderna's Mflusiva, the first U.S. flu vaccine to use mRNA technology. Now, remember, that was the technology used for the COVID-19 vaccine, but now it's being used for flu vaccines. Joining us to break it all down is Dr. Stephen Goldberg, Chief Medical Officer at HealthTrack. Good morning, Dr. Goldberg. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to have you here. There are pluses and minuses here. Now, from what I understand, and you tell me if I'm wrong, one of the pluses is I know year to year, you sort of have to predict with the traditional flu vaccine what strain you're going to have. And then you produce hundreds of millions of doses and they could be off. And so you might still get a little relief if you do get the flu, but it's not the strain that's infecting you. Whereas with an mRNA vaccine, you could wait till 3, 4, 5 weeks before the infection is at peak, and you could program in the specific strain and then produce 100 million of those. Is that right?
That's right. Ken, it's pretty exciting development. When you use the traditional approach to make vaccines, you have to use chicken eggs, and you can only grow things so fast. That takes about 6 months. And that long time often limits your ability to check what's happening right in the environment. So the strains that you use for the flu vaccine with the traditional approach are maybe 10 to 60% accurate. In this big study comparing the mRNA vaccine to the traditional, 27% less people above 50 developed the flu. So it was more effective. And that is very exciting.
That is. Now, and I understand the rate of reaction. I think it's 2.6% among the traditional flu shot, and it's 2.7% among the mRNA, right? So it's basically the same percentage, roughly, of people who have an adverse effect with the mRNA versus the traditional flu vaccine.
Yeah, to my read, there's slightly higher short-term side effect from using the mRNA vaccine. By short-term, we mean sore arm, fatigue, headaches, muscle aches, things like that. But they go away quickly, but the numbers were slightly higher. The long-term dangerous side effect numbers were very low in both the mRNA and the traditional flu vaccine, which is great.
All right. And we should emphasize that when you think about the risk of dying from flu is very high. I mean, relatively speaking, you don't want to get the flu. And I think because it's in more common parlance than COVID was when it first came out, people think, oh, the flu, it's a bad cold. If you're, as you age, if you have immunity issues, the flu could kill you, right? You really don't want to get the flu.
You don't want to get the flu, and the very young and older are at risk of dying. The flu vaccine's objective is to stop three things: ER visits, hospitalizations, and death. And the studies are very clear. It is highly effective at doing that. So that's why flu vaccination is broadly recommended across ages.
So now, what about people who may have fear about mRNA vaccines from the COVID era? Like when you look back at COVID, you say um, initially we were told that it was supposed to stop getting the infection. Then we were told it was going to minimize the infection. Then we were told it was supposed to prevent you from giving it to somebody else. Is it just that we were sort of learning as we were going along? We just didn't have enough data because it was so fast. Now we have more data with mRNA vaccines than we had 5 years ago.
Yes, you mentioned a couple things in there. Is it effective, and should we be concerned about the type of vaccine it is? So is it effective? Yes. In this large study, 40,000 people, it was 27% more effective than the traditional vaccine in people studied, which were those 50 and above. Great news. Now, how does it work? Let me talk about mRNA in 60 seconds. What happens is you get injected under your arm nucleic acid, mRNA, and that triggers your body to make the spike protein. The virus has, looks like a baseball with spikes on it. So your body starts making the spikes. And then what happens, all your infection fighting cells see that in your body and they get ramped up. Scout cells, helper cells, antibodies, killer cells, and memory cells. So you are fired up to take on that flu. Now, what was injected, both the mRNA and the spike proteins, they dissolve. They're gone in a couple of weeks. So there's nothing left from the vaccine in your body. The only thing that's left are the strong infection fighting cells.
I mean, it's very logical. It makes sense. It's so logical that you say, "Wow, how did we not think about this even 100 years ago?" Because we knew about the different classifications of cells, et cetera, then. But this is just brilliant technology. The issue I think comes in for some people who might say, "Well, what about the higher incidence of myocarditis? What about, how do you tell a young person who, say, during COVID, whose own immunity would have probably if they're in their teens or 20s, probably would have prevented COVID. But we instead, and this is, I'm not, it sounds like I'm delving into politics. I'm not trying to get into the politics, but who got the COVID shot with the best of intentions and then ended up with myocarditis at 20 years of age. Are those fears valid, or is that just such a tiny fraction of a percent that when you think about the danger of the flu, it's not even worth weighing?
My read is that it's a tiny percent. We're talking well under 10 cases in a million of the myocarditis that you're describing. Wow. It's unfortunate, but it's really infrequent. What's true is how many thousands of people die from the flu. What's true is how effective this mRNA vaccine was against the traditional vaccine. And I would take that information and focus on those parts.
And it makes sense. Every time you get the traditional flu vaccine, there are chances, right? They ask you, are you allergic to this? Are you allergic to latex? Are you allergic to eggs, etc.? You could have an adverse reaction to that too. Yet people, millions upon millions, have gotten that over the years. So this is about trying to keep people safe and prevent them from dying unnecessarily. That's what this is about. So, and then adults, people who go in for a flu shot, they still have the option, right? If they want the traditional flu shot, they could still do that this year.
Absolutely. We know that this new mRNA vaccine will be available for 50 above 64. We don't know how broadly. It won't quite be ready for folks 65 and above, and you'll likely be presented options. So what I'm going to talk about with my patients is the research data. And I'll have the conversation to explain that this vaccine was 27% more effective than the traditional vaccine. And I'm going to recommend it to my patients.
And Dr. B, we have about a minute left or so here. Tell everybody about Health Track. We've had you on before. Talk about Health Track, your organization.
Thank you. Health Track is the nation's leader in outpatient infectious disease testing. So our testing is used in urgent care, women's health, family medicine, and pediatrics. So when someone comes in saying they feel ill, a swab is taken and it's sent to our lab overnight with our partnership with UPS. Our team works overnight and results it out the next morning. So what clinicians can do if they think it's a viral illness is tell the person, let's hold on antibiotics and let's wait for the actual result. And with our testing, clinicians, practitioners are being much more careful with use of antibiotics. We're very proud of that. We have millions using our testing every year.
And you are helping to prevent by giving clinicians and doctors a chance to look at things and realize, oh, if this is a viral infection, I'm not going to prescribe antibiotics. You help prevent super spreads and the avoidance of or the traditional antibiotics not working, right? By not over prescribing them. So that's a very, very good thing. And then if you're a sick person, you don't want to wait 3 days. The idea is you want to find out by tonight, tomorrow, if I'm infected with X, Y, or Z. And that's the beauty of Health Track. You can get that result very, very fast. We love having you on, Dr. Goldberg. Please come back. Please, your company provides a great service, and we appreciate you. Dr. Stephen Goldberg, Chief Medical Officer of Health Track. Thank you for coming on, sir. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet. It is 44 minutes past the hour. When we come back, extreme heat can create even greater challenges for people already facing food insecurity, especially when preparing or accessing meals becomes difficult. We're going to talk about that with some folks who are really working hard for you. And meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full forecast. We're back in 2. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 46 minutes past the hour. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
So, Michael, I'm just looking at Los Angeles right now and seeing the temperature is creeping up there. It's 71 degrees already, but it's just a tad less humid than it is on the East Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's a little cloudy out there too. So they're sharing some of our wacky weather, considering the storms that rolled through New Jersey last night, especially southern New Jersey, with those big winds and heavy rains and lightning, of course. Now we have a quiet weather pattern coming up after today, so we get one more day of these storms. You can see them here on the Futurecast showing up as those dots of green there across New Jersey, and then it quiets down by the middle of the week toward tomorrow and Thursday. Very quiet weather on the way into Friday and starting off the weekend. Beautiful this Saturday. And then some clouds return into Sunday and Monday. But beyond that, it looks pretty great heading into the next few days of August after so much activity with the heat, then the storms, back to the heat. Again, we quiet things down for a little bit. So this is the cold front that provides some drier weather over the next few days. Comes at a price because the front lingers just off to our south and gives us another round of storms later on tonight into tomorrow. But the afternoon is nice and quiet for tomorrow and also on Thursday afternoon. Very dry before some cooler weather comes on down with a northerly breeze into Saturday and really makes it look pretty into this upcoming weekend. All of the heat for the end of August is concentrated down to the Gulf Coast and the Southeast, so it shouldn't be a concern for us. And even with that, the end of the month should be slightly drier than all of the storms that we've been seeing. Even still, the drought has ended across most of New Jersey, which is some really good news. Now it's the turn for other parts of the country to see that. But there's been a big improvement with the drought down across the Southeast, which was exceptionally dry over the last few months. That has taken a turn for the better.
All right, we'll take anything with the word better in it, Mike. We
Mhm.
appreciate. Thank you very, very much. You check let's check, see if our traffic is any better now. 72 degrees northern New Jersey, 71 Trenton, and now it's 74 degrees in Los Angeles. We look over at the New Jersey Turnpike. We have an incident here. Let's take a look over by the shoulder being closed from an earlier. We do have this, right, Pam? That's what you said. There it is. Okay. So you can see the broken down truck there, the tractor trailer on the right side. This is in the vicinity of exit 14 on the New Jersey Turnpike. You can see that that's blocking the shoulder. Also, not too far from there are pothole repairs and a slow moving operation on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound, north of interchange 14 I-78 in Newark. All lanes are open. There's a pothole in the right lane, and that's causing some residual delays. Not so bad. Folks are just kind of avoiding it today. Where you find that Mondays and Fridays you just don't have as much traffic, and today being Tuesday, you would think you'd start to get the buildup, but we don't have the Tuesday effect that we normally have. Maybe people are taking vacation. We notice traffic is extremely light today. We look at our Hudson River crossings. The 139 making your way from the Turnpike into the tubes is about 35 to 40 minutes in. The GWB is actually a decent ride. It's only 15 minutes in right now. Upper and lower levels only about, as I said, 15 minutes. Lincoln Tunnel, that's about 25 minutes in. It is 50 minutes past the hour. Just a quick mention in LA. We do have a few things, as Mike had mentioned. There might be a little dampness around. Normally, we don't get that in Los Angeles. But we do have a report now of a traffic collision in Altadena, and this is on the 5 at Alameda Avenue on-ramp. There's another one on Vincent Avenue on-ramp at the 10 in Baldwin Park. And we have a report of a fire at the 105 and the 110 where they meet, and that is in South LA. Well, extreme heat can create even greater challenges for people already facing food insecurity, especially when preparing or accessing meals becomes difficult. Fulfill, the food bank serving Monmouth and Ocean counties, has responded with its Code Red emergency response, preparing and distributing meals for residents who need them most. Joining us today is Mary Green, who is the culinary manager at Fulfill, to explain how the organization responds during dangerous heat events and how the community can help. Good morning. Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, anyone who does anything in terms of making sure people are fed It's such a nurturing and wonderful thing. So I want to give you a virtual hug just for doing that, because that's one of those things that, people debate over giving money, people debate over, all sorts of things. But when it comes to food, because we've all at some point experienced the feeling of hunger, even though it wasn't starvation, although we say I'm starving, it's not really for most of us. The idea of somebody stepping up and helping people so that they and their children or elderly or whatnot are fed is just, it's a blessing from heaven. So I just think you are a special, special person, and your organization is. What are the responses that you have in this time of year, in July, August, that's different, say, from the maybe the fall or the winter?
Well, really, it's just a matter of making sure we have food always available to be made because a code red could be called at any moment. We don't always have a heads up. And to have somewhere cool for them to be able to be for the day would really help. Those heats will really affect you. If you're out there, you could get really sick, especially if you're older of age or really young in age. So having somewhere with air conditioner that they can go and cool down, have a cold meal available, and some water, of course.
And do you have all mostly volunteers who help come, or are there also staffers? Because it's a
It's a
lot to
little
prepare
of
meals for a
both.
lot of people. That's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
we have both. I have some workers on staff, but we are mostly volunteer run. We have a lot of help here.
And I would imagine when people want to donate food, that they think of it in terms of Thanksgiving, Christmas time, and then middle of the summer, I would imagine food donations are way down. Am I wrong?
That is very true. Mostly it's during the holidays. People are always thinking to give. And then during the summer, especially when school's not in session, there's no one doing food drives. So it is much harder to come by the donations.
Yeah, something my mother taught me as a kid was every time we would go like literally every time, she would say, she would buy a couple of cans of stuff, and then she would buy, this is the way she would do it. She'd say, I'm going to get this in case we don't have it. If we have it, this one goes to the pantry. And that's how that would make her buy the extra can of whatever. No, kind of knowing in the back of her head she had it so she could donate it. And inevitably, at least once a month, she would stop by, even if it was 10 cans, 15 cans, we'd have food for the food pantry. We lived up in New Rochelle when I was growing up. And if everybody just gave 10 cans a month, that would be a big help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a major help. People don't realize even the smallest donation makes a difference here.
And again, we're talking about people who might be going days without having a real meal, right? In many cases.
Yeah, that's very true. There are definitely a lot of homeless people who are struggling to get fed daily. And even those who have homes, sometimes they have to make that hard choice of paying a bill for that house or getting food for the day.
Now, there's no reason in a society where we have so much food that we toss, what, 40% of the food we produce, we toss because it goes bad before we could eat it. And there are people who are starving who could use it. There's just no excuse for that. I think we throw out more food than any other country on the planet. And we just have to think about, we really, really, really have to start young in educating people to be very conscious of the fact that our brothers and sisters are starving and need that food. What are some things people can do to help out?
Like you said, even the smallest donations really help, or even volunteering. Go to Fulfill's website and sign up to do a shift. Help serve at the pantry or soup kitchens locally.
Hmm. Can anyone be trained? Like if someone has some training in terms of preparing meals and whatnot, can they help out as well?
Yes, we take anyone. They don't need to have kitchen experience. I'll train them with everything they need to know.
Maybe I'll come and help you out. And I'm not kidding. I'll come and help you out a couple of days because I used to work in kitchens. I'd be more than happy to help out whatever way I can.
We would
It's
love to
just,
have you.
well, it breaks my heart to think that anybody, I don't care who they are, I don't care where they're from, anybody who has any kind of a food insecurity issue, it just, and everybody should be impacted by that, should feel it. It's acceptable in our society today that should happen. And I'm imagining as the weather gets cold now too, when you have the extremes, extreme heat, extreme cold, that's when you really have people coming out, I would imagine.
That is true. The cold is even a longer period of time than the heat. So we do have a program for the cold weather as well. There's many sites that open with heating centers. Most of them are overnight, so the people are out in the freezing cold, during the worst time.
Mary, is it even more difficult because of Monmouth and Ocean counties being kind of more widespread, not having as much mass transit and whatnot? Is it more difficult for people to get to places to get those meals?
It definitely is. We have seen that, like Southern Ocean County, especially, it's a little harder for them to get the help, and that's our goal, is to make sure we're covering the areas the best we can.
Wow. All right. What is a website if people want to make a donation? Because financial donations, I'm sure, can go a long way too.
Just go to fulfillnj.org. You can give a donation there, or feel free to stop into either of our locations in Neptune or Toms River, and you could see the place and give a donation anytime.
Well, Mary, thank you for what you do. Mary Green, culinary manager at Fulfill, the food bank serving Monmouth and Ocean counties. We appreciate you. God bless you and your staff, the volunteers and the paid, for everything they do to help people out. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet. It is coming up on 7:58 now, East Coast, 4:58 West. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic back in 2. A very good morning. It is 8 a.m. Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. We want what you have to say and what you're thinking. But you don't have to talk about hard topics. You can talk about the weather, whatever you'd like. How'd you walk your dog today? Give us a call. We want to talk to you. That's the key. Mostly cloudy this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. Could be a stray shower or thunder shower, highs mid-80s. But for the full detailed forecast, meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
And in honor of Viking Pest Control, I wore a pocket square that is their colors. Did you notice that? This is
Oh,
the
look at
Viking Pest
that.
Control color scheme.
Very
Because I
snazzy.
think of our good friends. They're kind enough to sponsor. I will be kind enough to wear a matching pocket square. It's the least I could do. So it's going to be still hot and sticky, and not quite as nice as yesterday, though. At least we had that beautiful sunshine yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was stunning with that clear sky all throughout the day until about 4 or 5 o'clock when those storms came rolling through the southern half of the state and really gave certain parts of New Jersey a good soaking with those rains. Now we're left with some clouds, temperatures in the mid 70s, the humidity still very high. It is quite muggy with dew points in the low 70s, that is tropical levels of humidity as that moisture goes, and stays very warm through this afternoon, running on either side of where we were yesterday, plus or minus a few degrees. So a few clouds rolled in early this morning. You can already see the storms for today lining up off to our west. As they get going, likely delivering a few rounds of wet weather into this afternoon. The morning is pretty dry, but I think we see some more wet weather throughout the end of the day, especially later tonight, later than the storms occurred yesterday. These storms happen after around 10, 11 o'clock and last pretty much through the overnight. So you might hear some rumbles of thunder into tonight, leading to a drier start to the day tomorrow. We're back to warm weather on Wednesday, also back to lots of sunshine, which will look great. And with that, I think we see some clouds by the end of the day, another round of overnight rain, and then Thursday dries out yet again with a southwesterly breeze keeping us warm. But it's Friday's northwest wind that dries us out and sets us up for a beautiful start to the day on Saturday. Nice clear weather, pretty skies, and clear sky taking us through the rest of the weekend. So the next few days featuring a little bit of activity with some afternoon showers really into the overnight, and then cooler weather sets up just in time for this weekend, Ken.
All right, sir. Much appreciated. 74 degrees right now in northern New Jersey. It is 73 degrees in Trenton. It's 72 degrees in Cape May, 74 degrees in Vineland. We take a look at our traffic. We have a few incidents to tell you about. Let's go over to the New Jersey Turnpike. We have a tractor trailer. It's been here for about 45 minutes, disabled. This is on the Turnpike Eastern Spur southbound north of interchange 15X, Secaucus train station in Secaucus. The right lane is blocked and the vehicles on the right shoulders you can see, and that's causing delays. This is really backing up now for about a mile and a half or so, making your way past this. Once you get past it, you're fine. It's actually pretty good, but just getting there is kind of bad. So just avoid that if you can. And if you can't avoid it, just back your patience. It's going to cost you about 10 or 15 minutes to get past that. We continue on the Turnpike, actually, just an exit away by interchange 14. Roving pothole repairs. We want to get the streets in the best condition we can before the cold weather and the snow, and because that's going to cause more issues with the roads. So that's what they're trying to do right now to get ahead of things. But you can see the buildup as folks are getting past the trucks that are filling the potholes, causing some delays right now. That's by exit 14, again, on the New Jersey Turnpike. Over by Route 4, we have a crash investigation impacting traffic in both directions by Fairlawn Parkway and Fairlawn. The right lane eastbound is closed, and the left lane westbound is closed. And then we have delays making your way into the Holland Tunnel. It's going to cost you about 40 minutes into Manhattan via the Holland. Always trafficy through there. This is the 139 cam. We may not have it. The 139 cam making your way in. The Lincoln Tunnel, a little bit better than that. The wide shot we have at that, that's about, see that? That's only going to cost you about 15 to 20 at the Lincoln. That's a good thing. And then the GWB upper and lower levels really behaving nicely today. Only 15 minutes in. Wide open upper and lower levels making your way into Manhattan. A woman and her 5-month-old daughter died after a boat capsized near Liberty Island. The vessel overturned Saturday night in New York Harbor, right near the Statue of Liberty. Captain Manuel Hernandez was arrested, charged with 13 counts of reckless endangerment. 12 other passengers were rescued, taken to hospitals with minor injuries. Investigators are examining whether the boat operated legally as a charter vessel, because in order to do so, you have to meet certain standards. So they're investigating that. The Coast Guard and New York Police are looking at it as a fatal accident. A mother and child died in that accident. The New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that Seaside Park could seize a motel without stating its intended public use. It was a 6-1 decision, resolving a years-long dispute involving the Desert Palm Inn. The motel's owners argue the borough should have disclosed its plans earlier. Seaside Park later proposed using the property for parking and potentially a well. The majority said state law does not require municipalities to specify purposes in ordinances. But think about that should send a chilling, that should be very chilling for people. So the community calling eminent domain comes and takes over your property. Think about it. If it was your house or your business, they come in and say, nope, we need it for our purposes. And they don't want to tell you what. So in this case, this one dissenting justice criticized the borough for failing to act honestly and transparently. Because if you're trying to take over that building, say, because you need to expand the road, and that's the only thing preventing you from expanding the road, and there's bumper to bumper traffic year round, that's one thing. And then you just say, we need to do this. But if you're doing it because who knows what kind of, and I'm not suggesting anything nefarious went on here, but you never know. A city official is getting money on the side. I'm not suggesting that happened here, but a city official getting money on the side, and another company wants to build something there. Boom. So now you condemn a property. That has happened over the years in many places. And you could understand why people are being a little suspicious about that. And when you have 5 people ruling in one direction, you have to wonder, at the very least, New Jersey should change its laws. If the laws say that they don't have to disclose why there's a takeover, you might want to contact your assembly and Senate members in Trenton and say, excuse me, but before somebody comes in and takes over my private property, because that borders on violation of federal law. We have private property rights. And to just seize the private property without having a good reason is something that should unnerve a lot of people. I'm just saying. In Camden, 2 Camden nonprofits received a combined $950,000 for neighborhood revitalization projects. Parkside Business and Community in partnership received $800,000 through the state program. Heart of Camden received another $150,000 to support Waterfront South redevelopment efforts. Funding will support affordable housing, commercial revitalization, economic development, and community programs. The investments build on millions previously awarded to Camden organizations through the program. Projects include new housing, art spaces, retail development, and neighborhood improvements. Camden always feels like it's right on the edge of emerging as the next new place because it has a beautiful waterfront with a view of Philly. But it always feels like it gets so far and then stops because there's crime issues, poverty issues. So you can only do so much, but we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, because if this does end up really promoting the Camden waterfront, that could be the big development spot for the state of New Jersey. Bayonne Little League faced New York champion PYA Little League in yesterday's regional tournament. Bayonne advanced after defeating Connecticut's Darien Little League 8-2. PYA opened the tournament with an 18-0 victory over Rhode Island. Yesterday's winner advances to the Metro Region Championship and moves closer to Williamsport. That's the national championship. The loser will face Connecticut in an elimination game later this week. The Little League World Series begins August 19th in Williamsport, PA. A New Jersey police officer disguised himself as a shrub. There he is, Officer Shrub, during a distracted driving crackdown. Imagine you show up, your sergeant gives you roll call, and he says, hey, Jones, your assignment today, you're the shrub. Go to academy, you go to a criminal justice program, and this is what you do for a living. You dress up as a frickin' shrub. Just saying, somebody's got to do it. The unusual operation targeted drivers using cell phones along North Washington Avenue in Dunellen. By the way, I am still amazed that in 2026, when we have hands-free everything, why are people still holding cell phones? Are you that like 1962 that you're still holding your cell phone? Stop you. I mean, we know what the law is, and everybody does this when they pass a cop. They lower the phone like, come on, they're not that stupid. Police chose the busy downtown area because it has heavy traffic and pedestrians. During 6 hours, officers issued 74 citations for distracted driving violations. Put down the frickin' phone when you drive or use hands-free. These phones all have speakerphones. What are you doing? Come on, people. Spend $5 and get something that clamps your phone to the air conditioning duct if you would be white trash and use the speakerphone. Why are you holding your damn phone? Police remind drivers that texts and notifications can wait till they reach their destination. That's what it is. It's not the speakerphone. They're texting. Stop with your damn texting. Good Lord, we raise a whole generation of people who are going to have thumb arthritis. New Jersey expanded transportation funding opportunities for seniors and residents with disabilities. Governor Mikey Sherrill signed legislation allowing counties to use program funding for microtransit. The on-demand service lets riders select pickup and drop-off locations by phone or app. Previously, funding primarily supported fixed routes, door-to-door services, and fare subsidies. So people who are elderly, shut-ins, they can't walk, they really now have the ability to get from place to place because of this. That's a very good thing. The Powerball jackpot has climbed to an estimated $905 million ahead of yesterday's drawing. No ticket matched all 6 numbers on Saturday, extending the jackpot's winless streak. Yesterday's drawing marks the 43rd consecutive drawing without a jackpot winner. Well, let's just confirm. Did we have a winner last night? I didn't even double check. Pam, do you know? I should have checked. Yeah, and I forgot to check. Let's see right now. We'll find out what it is. I'm checking with you. I'm looking at the old Jackpocket app. So, wow, no, there was no winner. So now we're up to 975. 975, it says, as of right now. There you go. Wednesday night's the next drawing. The cash, if you choose the cash option after paying taxes and all, it's going to be over $400 million. So you're my new best friend. It is coming up on 8:13, mostly cloudy this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. Could be a stray shower or thunder shower. Highs upper 80s. It is 75 degrees right now. And meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full forecast in just a bit. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Back in 2. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mr. Mike, what are we looking at, sir?
We've got some great weather on the way for the rest of this week. Today, little bit of cloud cover with some storms returning for this afternoon. Visibility improving right now. It's okay, but the clouds are quickly rolling in. You see them from earlier this morning. And with some breaks in the clouds, it feels rather humid. Some showers moving in across the Delaware. We likely see those show up in the picture later on this morning. But as far as today, temperatures warm quickly. Yet again, with the very high humidity that's in place, temperatures temperatures climbing up to near 90 through this afternoon, and that humidity stays high through this evening. Anytime that dew point, or the temperature where the air is saturated, is in the 70s, that feels tropical, and it will feel very warm and muggy right through this evening. So you see this dry air take over. That's that yellowy color that shows up as soon as tomorrow afternoon. That'll feel pleasant with a northerly breeze drying the air out, and the dew points hit the 50s. That's closer to the drier end of the scale. It'll feel quite nice. Way down the shore, like toward Cape May, still very muggy. Can't quite break from that heat and humidity, even through Thursday, where the southwesterly wind makes that humidity surge by the afternoon. So feeling tropical down there. Again, northern half of the state on Friday looks good, and then dry weather pretty much takes over through the rest of the weekend. So for today, even though it's not terribly sunny but not terribly cloudy, we're right in the middle with a UV index of a 7, which is high, taking us into this afternoon during the peak sunny part of the day. The Futurecast brings back some clouds through the afternoon. You see some spotty showers into this evening. Best chance of some rain again is later on tonight. While we dry out tomorrow, another spot shower or storm tomorrow evening. And then Thursday afternoon looks wonderful with some warm weather again. Highs up around 90 with clear sky in the afternoon, but it's that dry weather on Friday that will feel very pleasant, refreshing even, and take us into a very pleasant start to the weekend. So the next few days featuring some unsettled weather until we get to the weekend, because this weekend looks gorgeous. Low 80s, lots of sun, clear sky, and low humidity, Ken, with a very beautiful forecast ahead.
Do you realize that we clearly consulted each other on our outfit today?
I see this. It's very, very similar. I know.
Same jacket, same shirt, same little bit of a tan, whatever. It is what it is. I just have to grow the facial hair back. All good. And it took me an hour and 18 minutes to realize. I'm sorry. I'm in another day of another fog. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. By the way, you have good taste in outfits. Just saying.
Oh, as do you.
All right, my friend, we'll check back at 18 minutes past. It is now 73 degrees northern New Jersey, 73 Trenton, 71 degrees Cape May, and 74 degrees in Vineland. And we look at traffic issues. We have a lot of them all on the turnpike. Let's start let's see, there's a crash on the turnpike inner roadway northbound south of interchange 8A. This is by Route 32 Cranberry. All lanes are open, vehicles off to the left shoulder, but look at what this is causing. Residual delays all the way back to the toll plaza right now. That's really bad. We moved down the turnpike a little bit, or up the turnpike, depending on what direction you're coming from, and we have a disabled tractor trailer. This is by the eastern spur southbound north of interchange 15X by the Secaucus train station in Secaucus. Right lane blocked, vehicles on the right shoulder. And you can see that's been there for about an hour and a half, causing some delays. And then over to, let's see, by the vicinity of exit 14, they're doing roving pothole repairs. That's causing some backups, but that's necessary. That's going to be going on. If you look to the extreme left, you can see the buildup of traffic because of that. Up to Route 4, something that is not the turnpike. On Route 4, we have a crash investigation impacting traffic both directions at Fairlawn Parkway. The right lane is closed eastbound, left lane is closed westbound, and your Hudson River approaches. Right now, the Lincoln is only going to cost you about 20 minutes in via 495. The Holland Tunnel 139 approach, there you go, is heavy. That's 40 minutes in. And then the GWB upper and lower levels have been great all morning, actually. The 8095 approach is only about 15 minutes in, even at this hour. Upper level on the right, lower on the left. It is 8:20. Six Flags Great Adventure is iconic here in New Jersey in the Garden State. The park now has new attractions, seasonal events, and plenty of reasons for families and thrill seekers to visit. Ryan Eldridge is the marketing and sales director at Six Flags Great Adventure. Good morning to you, Ryan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You bet. Hey, I look at Ryan. I'm just talking to everybody as if you're not there. I look at Ryan as the bouncer at the nightclub. Ryan could hook you up at Great Adventure. So he's the guy to be your friend. Ryan, when I even mention the name Great Adventure, I get butterflies in my stomach. I think back to my youth. Great Adventure is one of those places that just brings joy to so many people's faces in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Philadelphia, the whole region, and has for so many years. But let's start with the big new news you have coming up for the 2027 season. Is it pronounced Bakunawa or Bakunawa, the new roller coaster?
The second one. You got it right on the second shot. So I appreciate it.
All
And,
right.
it is Filipino in origin. So not everyone is comfortable or familiar with that language. And so, that was part of kind of the context of how do you come up with the name is we wanted to find something that was wholly unique, that wasn't something that was kind of in the popular vernacular. And so we kind of stumbled upon it. Look, the track is purple. If you did a quick Google search on Bacanawa, you're going to find this purple sea serpent. So it all kind of just connected. And then the size and scale of the project, you're talking 382 feet high. You're going to go 100 miles an hour. You're going to break 6 world records. All of it seemed to come together to kind of bring this creature to life. I will say one of the pieces of the backstory is that we were standing out there one day. The structure was almost fully erected, and we had the moon kind of bounced or slid close to overhead, and it was almost a full moon, and it just seemed to connect because Bacanawa in Filipino mythology is actually a sea serpent that comes, swallows the moon. Villagers come out, they bang on pots and pans, and they get the sea serpent to eject the moon. So that's kind of how maybe they explain lunar eclipses back in the day. But it's a great story. It's a great ride. And I love to hear that you had butterflies in your stomach because it kind of gives me that sensation just being able to work here and come to work every day.
It's a great place. It is so one of those exciting places to be. And you talked about the world's records. So for those who don't realize, a Bacanawa is going to have or be the world's fastest spinning coaster, the world's fastest inversion, the world's first upside down launch. Good Lord, the world's longest stall inversion, and the world's tallest spinning coaster, also the world's first floorless spinning coaster. Let somebody try to top that. If they do, you better buy insurance. That's insanity. And I'm just like, I'm thinking I better take a bottle of Tums and not eat any hot dogs before I go on this thing.
Yeah, it's funny that I'm so glad you rattled off the records because half the time I'm trying to remember them all because there were a couple that maybe we left on the cutting room floor because the reality is that no ride like it exists on planet Earth. And we are going to do things that are a number of firsts here in the United States. So if you're a roller coaster enthusiast, maybe you're a thrill seeker, I think this is really the perfect attraction for you. And then as many know, we constructed Shoreline Pier, which is just north of this attraction that will give families 5 rides that are more, suited for children of all ages, regardless of maybe how you feel, because I've seen 11 and 12-year-olds get on rides that are big and bad. So maybe it's not that, but maybe you need something that's a little more chill. We've created that environment for you as well on the boardwalk.
I love that. I love that. And by the way, I also love the fact that it's a nod to the good Filipino American community too, with the Filipino Tagalog, their language. The Filipinos have contributed so much to our society. I don't think they really have enough recognition for. I have friends I grew up with. I was from New Rochelle's big Filipino American community, and I'm glad that they get a little nod of respect here by having this ride named after, from their language in the Philippines. That's fantastic. So now the 2027 season pass is already on sale, and that's a good thing because I'm sure you're going to have lines all the way to Connecticut, I think, for people trying to get in here. So what are the benefits that people can get if they get the 27 season pass?
Hey, this is like my sales hat, so I'm glad you're letting me put this one on. So it was actually part of the discussion was, hey, you're going to announce Bakunawa, and how are we going to really capitalize on this momentum? And we thought, what better way than start that 2027 season pass sale early? What that'll give you is the rest of the 2026 season. You can visit whenever you want. We always say unlimited, but you never know. I mean, I doubt everyone's going to be here every day, but you could if you wanted to. It also gives you free parking. And the great thing about a 27 pass right now is that you'll get all of 2027. And if you like Bakunawa, well, this is your chance to get a pass that ensures that you'll be one of the first to get to experience the ride. I won't get into all the details, but we're setting up some special things as we go into next year. Goal is to have this ride ready in the spring when it's nice and crispy, and people will get to experience the Purple Monster for themselves for the very first time. So season pass, definitely the best way to do it. And I would be remiss to avoid the call out of saying, if you do get a season pass, gold pass to Great Adventure, you also get to do things like go to Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania, or you can go to Six Flags New England. So there are different perks to it. You could also go to King's Dominion down in Richmond if you like. So there's a lot of good things that come with a season pass. Don't forget about Fright Fest and Holiday in the Park, which is returning.
That is very, very, very smart. I'm so glad that Six Flags is doing that. You have so many parks. It's so smart to have kind of it's like having a gym pass, gym membership to one of the national gyms. You can go from gym to gym. Very
Right.
smart idea. And you got stuff happening this fall. Talk about the Fright Fest you got coming up.
Yeah, so we're really excited for Fright Fest. We're actually welcoming in 2 new IPs or intellectual properties. So when you think of an intellectual property, what does that mean? It means like a book or a movie or a television series. So we just announced one about 2 weeks ago. It was Jason Blood Rain. We also announced that Army of the Dead was coming back for all our horror fans. We have another one coming up that we're going to announce at the end of this week. And then we'll have 2 new mazes that are going to be constructed and imagined out by our park team here. We announced one is going to be Deadwood Cabin, which is supposed to be like a scenic central Jersey area or a farm that has been taken over by a family of serial killers. Sorry, your audience is like 8:30 in the morning. It's early for this. But we also have a lot of great live entertainment for Fright Fest this year as well. Oktoberfest is coming back. So if you're a foodie, if you like beer, Oktoberfest is a spot for you. And then we have Kids Boo Fest, which is all things family that takes place during the day. So it's separated from Fright Fest. And then we're rolling right into Holiday in the Park. So we're so glad this year that we're bringing back Santa Claus and everything holly jolly.
I love it. It just doesn't stop, and it's iconic, and it's right here in New Jersey. You don't have to get on a plane. You could just get on the highway, get off at exit 7A. I remember from my youth when I lived in New Rochelle, 7A only meant one thing. I know for people in Jackson Township, it meant something else, but for everyone else within 100 miles, it meant great adventure. And again, it's nice that all these years later, it still brings butterflies to the stomach of excitement. Bakanawa, don't miss it.
Yeah, how are we getting you on it, Ken?
2027. Oh, I'll go on it. Hey, I'll go on.
All
We'll
right.
do it live if you want.
We'll make it happen.
Let's do it. Oh, heck yeah. No, you think I'm kidding. I'll do it. We'll go live. We'll do it live in the morning show. Mike and I will get on. Here I'm committing our meteorologist to it. He's going to kill me. But we'll, okay. So my director, Pam, just said in my ear, she loves coasters. She'll go with me. I would do
Okay.
it.
All right.
So
I'm making a note.
Definitely do so, Ryan, please. The new world record breaking, 6 times over world record breaking roller coaster, Bakanawa, set to open a great adventure spring of 2027. Ryan Eldridge, the marketing and sales director at Six Flags Great Adventure. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate you having me, man. Hopefully we get those butterflies when you ride Bakanawa again.
I will do it. How could you not, man? That's what a coaster. Oh, we could talk about it for days. Thank you again, Ryan. Have a great one.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you.
You bet. And when we come back, football season, yes, it's already getting underway. Kids are heading back to school soon, and fall sports are right around the corner. But when it comes to staying active and performing at your best, it's not just about how hard you train, it's also about how well you recover. We're going to talk about that next. Very good morning. It is Tuesday, August 11th, 2026, 74 degrees now at 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Mostly cloudy this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. Could be a stray shower or thunder shower. Not so bad, though. Highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike, what are we hearing?
We are hearing some warm weather. Heard some thunder last night down the shore. Some really impressive looking clouds, shelf clouds that came through, indicative of severe weather down toward Wildwood last night. And even with temperatures today warming back into the upper 80s and around 90, it'll feel warm with the high humidity throughout this afternoon. We don't break that heat and humidity down the shore until later on this weekend. So until that time, as long as there's a little bit of a west and southwesterly breeze, it stays warm. We're back to the moderate level of mosquito and pest activity. And I say mosquito because specifically those mosquitoes have been biting, especially with all of the high humidity and of course the rain that seems to be coming in every single day. Grasses are starting to rise to the moderate level in some locations, especially with all of the lawns becoming rather green. And with the sunrise time now after 6 a.m. sunset, tonight is our last sunset after 8 p.m. or actually at 8 p.m. So the daytime hours are getting shorter and shorter as we head closer to the start of fall. Looking pleasant though with the nice warm water temperatures. Look at that, Sandy Hook warm to 81 degrees. Starting to see even some of those algal blooms with that warm water. So the ocean has a little bit of a green tinge to it down the shore. Further south toward Atlantic City, much cooler at 68 degrees. And there's no rip current risk today at the low level, which is nice. So the rain chances going into the next few days pretty low, 0 on Saturday. That's a nice change and a very pleasant start to the weekend before returning a little bit by Sunday afternoon. So pleasant weather over the next few days. The storms really happening at night, so the afternoons should be mostly dry. Even in the morning, just very hot, very sunny and humid today, but that drier weather across northern New Jersey takes over tomorrow and across all of the state by Friday with some very tranquil weather and that low humidity lasting right through Saturday. So great weather ahead for the next few days, especially each afternoon. Temperatures start to fall back into the low 80s where they should be through the middle of August into Monday and Tuesday of next week. And that dry weather lasts all weekend long, even down the shore. A nice break from the heat for you down the shore, mid 70s. That is weather perfection, Ken, as we take it into this weekend.
All right, sir. Indeed. We appreciate you. 74 degrees northern New Jersey, 73 degrees in Trenton. And in terms of traffic, we have a lot of it right now. Let's go over to the Turnpike. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound south of interchange 8A, Route 32 in Cranberry. All lanes are open. Vehicle on the left shoulder, causing some delays, though, as you can see right there. There's also a disabled tractor trailer now on the New Jersey Turnpike Eastern Spur southbound north of interchange 15X. That's by the Secaucus train station. The right lane is blocked. The vehicle's on the right shoulder, and you can see the damage there. And we move over to Route 4, crash investigation, both directions. Fairlawn Parkway and Fairlawn. Right lane is closed eastbound. Left lane is closed westbound. The Lincoln Tunnel is now your better bet if you're going to make your way versus the Lincoln or the Holland into Manhattan. It's only going to cost you 15 minutes. Holland Tunnel is kind of heavy. Route 139 making your way from the Turnpike to the Tubes. You can see on the left side basically stopped. That's 35 to 40 minutes. And the GWB upper and lower levels have been just a prize today. Really not a problem at all. Only 10 to 15 minutes and upper level on the right, lower on the left, both flowing nicely. All right, that's all good news. Well, football season is getting underway and kids are heading back to school. Fall sports right around the corner, really a couple of weeks away. When it comes, though, to staying active and performing at your best, it's not just about how hard you train, it's also about how well you recover. Joining us is Dr. Amanda Acapinti, Doctor of Acupuncture at Integrated Health Center and an acupuncturist who works with the New York Jets. Good morning to you, Dr. Acapinti.
Good morning, Ken. It's so nice to see you this morning.
Good to see you. Absolutely. And you work with professional athletes, including the New York Jets. What's something that you've learned from the elite athletes that you think the rest of us could benefit from?
I think that one of the things I really have learned in working with that population is how much they prioritize recovery. It's really just integrated right into their training. It's not something separate. It's a scheduled day. It's a part of their training, and it really can enhance and optimize their performance.
And so recovery, I know even just athletes that I know, they say that recovery is as important as the actual workout, right?
Absolutely. And recovery can also just not encompass things doing to your physical body, but prioritizing sleep and hydration and nutrition, focusing on your mental and your spiritual health. So it's really a whole body approach that these athletes take that we can also impart into our own day-to-day recovery, whether you are an athlete or you're just somebody who's living a natural life.
I know many athletes who've said that basically when you work out, you're breaking down cells, right? Recovery is when your body repairs what you've broken down. You've intentionally broken it down so that you then callus the muscles, and that's how muscles grow, right? So if you break down 2 or 3 layers of cells, you're adding back 4 or 5 layers. That's how you get, say, for instance, a callus on your hand or whatever. That's an extra layer because your body is adding padding, if you will, because of the repetitive damage. But you need to supply the nutrition and the rest, et cetera, to do that. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration. They just think, oh, the body will take care of itself. You have to provide the time and the resources, if you will, for it. So now, as kids head back to school and fall sports, what should parents be thinking about when it comes to making sure that those young athletes recover properly?
Scheduling in recovery to their schedule is just important as scheduling into the training. So it's not about just, oh, if I have time, I'll go and I'll rest, but you actually have to schedule in rest days or things like coming in for acupuncture to put that into the schedule, build it into the schedule, and make it part of the routine.
So, we've talked before, I believe, months ago, and I'm a big fan of acupuncture. It's the only thing that saved my neck when I commute between New York and Florida, and when I made my way down to Florida, got off a plane one day and couldn't sit or couldn't stand up. I was literally arched over 90 degrees. And I couldn't even get onto a chiropractic table for an adjustment. Chiropractor sent me to the acupuncturist. The acupuncturist got me to the point that after about 2 days, I was able to lay flat on a chiropractor's table so that he could treat me. So I will never forget that, the agony that I was in until I went to my acupuncturist. There is so much wonderful historic medicine behind acupuncture that I think enough people do not give it the time they need to. And in terms of getting your body in tone, acupuncture is there for that, right?
Absolutely. And I also think that maybe some people don't think of it as a first line of defense because of what it is, but acupuncture is one of the most amazing things that you can do to help your body recover. And that's because it helps to regulate your nervous system. And you need to be in that rest and digest, or in that, we call it the yin state, to really enhance your recovery and be based on some of the specific acupuncture points or the treatment plan that your acupuncturist can come up with, can really maximize you being in that rest and digest or that yin state and out of that yang or sympathetic dominant state. And that's really optimizing recovery. So at the nature of what acupuncture does, it helps your body recover.
What about also preventive acupuncture to make sure the body, like all the pathways are open and whatnot, and you're getting proper energy flow? What about, should there be a routine? Say if I had a son who was in his early teens, who was in football training, should they be just going even beforehand to make sure they get treatment?
Absolutely. And that is where I see a lot of elite athletes also doing it. And one of the things that we had discussed before about learning from them is that it's just a part of their routine. It's not, oh, I'm injured, so let me go seek care. It's, I want to prevent the injury. Or if the injury should come, my body's in a state where it can recover more quickly. So I have young children who are young athletes. I have adults, everybody, elite athletes who come for treatment. And we used to call it wellness, but now I think we can also start to call it like recovery or performance enhancement.
Sure. And there's so much to it, right? There's hydration, sleep, stretching, mobility, rest. This is all part of it. The workout is one segment of all of this, isn't it?
It is just one segment. And again, when you come for acupuncture, you're regulating your nervous system so that your hydration and your nutrition and your sleep can all be optimized so that if you are doing all of those other things, they can actually work. So it really works together as a team.
Yeah. And for what about the everyday person who may not be a professional athlete but wants to stay active and feel their best? I know that there are just times when I don't feel on. I feel like I'm a little off. It could very well be that making sure I get treated with acupuncture could help my body to basically be maximized in terms of taking care of itself, right?
When your body's in any state of imbalance, we call it the state of dis-ease. Dis-ease
Mhm.
can lead to disease. So whether you're an athlete or not, if there's some sort of imbalance that your body's trying to work through, we can help to bring your body back to homeostasis, back to balance with the acupuncture. So you don't need to necessarily be an athlete to recover. I mean, I'm a mom of 2 kids, and sometimes I
Mhm.
just need to recover from life because it's hectic these days. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a physical demand on your body where you're an athlete. It could be an emotional demand. It could be a physical demand just from running errands every day or sitting in your office. So it really can be a fit for everybody.
I love how so many people are quick to rush to pop a new pill that they see a commercial for, but yet they don't give something that is a science of thousands of years in Eastern medicine at the time of day when they really, really should, because professional athletes do. And I think they know better about their bodies than the average person does, so they should pay attention. What's a website, doctor, that we could get in touch and learn more from you?
My website is integratedhealthcenternj.com, and I'm located in Watchung, New Jersey.
Awesome. Dr. Amanda Acapinti, excuse me, Doctor of Acupuncture at Integrated Health Center, acupuncturist who works with the New York Jets. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you. All right. It is now 75 degrees, 8:43. When we come back, the Bloomfield Fire Department's Girls on Fire Youth Camp is now in its 4th year. It's grown from a 2-day program to a 5-day immersive experience. We're going to talk about it when we come back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Mostly cloudy this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon, maybe a stray shower or thunder shower, highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Mike, I don't know if you heard before, I committed you to riding the new roller coaster Bakanawa
Oh,
at
you
Great
did?
Adventure with me. Yeah, it's only it starts off inverted. So you get I don't know how they do that. There's something called
Okay.
gravity. I don't know how you're supposed to I don't know, but I guess you walk on and then it inverts you and then takes off from that state or something. But it's going to be the world's this and the world's that, 6 different world's records that it's going to break. And you and I will get to go 100 miles an hour on it. Think about that.
Oh, sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. I feel most people do that on the Parkway anyway, on the way down there. So, maybe not the inverted part, but if you're lucky. Hey, we've got some
Or
great.
maybe so.
Maybe so, maybe so. We've got some great weather on the way after today. Still have some rain that comes in later on this evening. And that's actually prompting another round of flash flooding risk with anywhere from 1 to perhaps 2 inches of rainfall, even through Thursday. Now, as we enter the peak of spotted lanternfly season, it's already beginning. So here we are into the middle of August. And look at northern New Jersey, more than 200% of average rainfall. So where the rain is needed, especially up toward the reservoirs, it's certainly falling. Little to no rainfall deficit, which is some great news. And the drought coming to an end quickly, especially across the northern half of the state, where over the last season, just abnormally dry. None of this severe or extreme drought remains, considering how wet it's been. So temperatures today climbing into the upper 80s. We get a little bit more wet weather later on this afternoon. And then the long term through toward the end of August has increasing chances of drier weather and even not as hot as it has been, where all of the big heat is suppressed well down to the southeast. So the next few days featuring a cooler, drier trend. The weekend looks stunning. Can't wait for that weekend forecast. Even down the shore, very pleasant weather. And then into next week, we remain in the 70s with that dry weather ahead, Ken. So very, very nice going into the next few days.
All right, Mike, much appreciated. Thank you, sir. It is, enjoy your day. Thank you. Think about that great adventure ride we're going on. 74 degrees northern New Jersey, 73 degrees in Trenton. It's 70 degrees in Cape May, 74 degrees also in Vineland. Just a quick mention of traffic that we have for you. New Jersey Turnpike, we have a crash on the inner roadway south of interchange 8A, Route 32, Cranberry. All lanes open, vehicles off to the left shoulder, and that's causing some delays there. We have another issue on the Turnpike, disabled tractor trailer, and this is Eastern Spur southbound, north of interchange 15X by the Secaucus train station. Right lane is blocked. Vehicles on the right shoulder, causing what you see on your screen. And then over on Route 4, we have a crash investigation impacting traffic both directions at Fairlawn Parkway and Fairlawn. The right lane eastbound is closed. The left lane westbound is closed. And your Hudson River crossing is 139. The Holland Tunnel approach from the Turnpike right now is going to cost you a solid 35 to 40 minutes. You could see the traffic under or above, I should say, where it says call Ken. Those lanes are going to the tube and they are stopped right now. So that's 40 minutes. The Lincoln Tunnel, much better. It's only about 15 minutes in by the Helix. You could see why is the bus line stopped? Yeah, there's something going on with the bus lane. That should not happen. We'll look into that for you. But usually it's just the opposite. It's the car lanes, not the bus. But we'll see what happened. That's not moving at all. That's not a good thing. We'll check it out. GWB is really good. Upper and lower levels, only 15 minutes on the 8095 approach. And there you have it, wide open. Nice to see. It is 8:50, and the Bloomfield Fire Department's Girls on Fire Youth Camp is now in its 4th year. It's grown from a 2-day program into a 5-day fully immersive experience with 60 girls participating this year through hands-on activities like firefighting drills and rescue simulations, team challenges. The program is building confidence while introducing girls to careers in public safety. Joining us to talk about the importance of representation and mentorship are Bloomfield Mayor Jenny Mundell, who's the first woman to serve as the township's mayor, and Bloomfield firefighter Claudia Astudillo, who's one of the first women to serve in the department. Good morning, Mayor, and good morning, Jenny. Good to have you both.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having us back.
Good morning.
I think our video is frozen there on the right. Pam, can we check that out? Yeah, I think we have our video. I was going to say we have no emotion from our firefighters because the video's frozen. We'll fix it out. We'll come out to maybe just the mayor and I until we can fix that, if you don't mind. All right. We'll try to get that working. Well, let's start with the mayor. Girls on Fire is now in its fourth year. It's grown to 60 girls participating over 5 days. So, what does that growth tell you about the impact that the program's having in Bloomfield?
Well, for one, it shows that there's great interest in programs like this in town, but I think it's also a call for young girls and a call for people to see that girls are interested in different opportunities.
And indeed they are. And I think we've had this conversation before, Mayor, from last year. I used to live in Belleville, and I know that the community is great. Bloomfield is awesome. And boy, oh boy, has parts of it have just totally transformed. But you need, as you get population growth and everything else, you need a good emergency services. And why shouldn't women be at least 50% represented in all our emergency services? Part of it is traditionally we haven't reached out to young girls and said, this could be your career, but this is changing all that, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, with 60 girls in the camp this year, we've been able to expand it from last year, both in terms of the number of girls that are participating, but also the number of days that we're holding it. So it's important. We know that girls need to see themselves in other roles that they may not have considered before, and why not expand opportunities to them?
100%. And somebody who had that expanded opportunity, here's Claudia Astudillo. Good morning, a firefighter from Bloomfield, right? What was it like entering a traditionally male-dominated profession? You were one of just a handful. You were one of the first women to do this, right?
Good morning. Yes, it was. I'm the second female in Bloomfield. It was very exciting, nerve-wracking for sure. I was blessed to have a great team of guys empowering and encouraging me throughout my career, my last 4 years. And now I get a chance to show the girls everything that they can do. They get to see a female firefighter do the job that males do as well.
Yeah, and do it just as well. And what are some of the hands-on activities that the girls experienced during the camp, Claudia?
So yesterday they got the chance to work with a hydrant, same hydrant that everyone sees on the streets. They were able to operate a hose. They went through a maze. They were able to break a wall. Amazing, because the girls were scared at first, and then you see that smile in their face after they accomplished something that they thought they couldn't do. So that's very amazing.
And you know what? It's even if they don't end up firefighters, even if they just go out into another career, the idea that now they realize, you know what, if I set my mind to it, I can accomplish whatever I want. That says so much. And this whole camp is so important for that. Mayor, I mean, women remain significantly underrepresented in the fire service. So is it just, do you think it's just essential to get early exposure and mentorship to help encourage more girls to consider public careers in public safety like this?
Absolutely. But I think what it's really doing is building confidence for girls in those spaces, right? So now maybe they say, I can do this, whereas before they felt like they weren't welcome or possibly that they just couldn't. But we're showing them that they absolutely can.
Wow, that's so important. And now, go ahead, please, Claudia, please.
The girls come in with that mentality, and as a camp, we feel accomplished. Even if none of the girls become firefighters, we just want them to leave the camp feeling confident, feeling comfortable around first responders, and carrying that confidence outside the firehouse, and probably in their future, engage in a leadership role later on.
You know, if I went through that, any kind of a program like that as a youth, I would be walking with a swagger because, you know, you're like, I could save a life. I could, you know, by that point, and these are kids. How old are these girls, by the way, in the camp?
They are between 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So between 10 years old, 13.
That's amazing. And they literally emerge from there knowing that I could grow up to save humans' lives. that's quite a confidence build. And that, as you said, that can help them out no matter what career path they go on. Mayor, I know the program received a $17,000 grant from the Essex County Youth Services Commission. So how's that help the program grow from 2 days to 5?
Well, that's exactly what it did. It helped us grow from 2 days to 5, but it also helped us to increase the number of girls that we're able to give this opportunity to.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And this is strictly open to Bloomfield residents, right?
Correct.
I'm kind of shocked that like every community around you hasn't taken advantage and done the same thing, because it's just a no-brainer. It's such a smart idea, and I'm so glad that Bloomfield has taken the bull by the horn, so to say, and just moved forward and done this. God bless you both. Mayor Jenny Mundell, the first woman to serve as Bloomfield's mayor, a Bloomfield firefighter Claudia Astudillo, one of the first women to serve in the department. Thank you for coming on. All the best to the young women who are in this program, in this camp, and continued success may continue to grow.
Thanks so much, Ken.
All right. You bet.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you both on. Thank you. All right, it is 8:57 now, and meteorologist Mike Favetta says we will have mostly cloudy skies this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. Could see a stray shower or thunder shower, highs in the upper 80s. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you can stream us at ONNJ.com, ONLACA.com, ONFLA.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We also stream live on Substack, Rumble, Twitch, and Local Now. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. Tell all your friends about us. Till then, thanks for watching. Have a great day.